Okay, so you know that feeling, right? You're learning English. Maybe you've been at it for a little while.
Hmm.
You kind of get the grammar. Your vocabulary is growing. You can read stuff, maybe follow movies if the subtitles are on.
Yeah, the passive skills are getting there.
Exactly. But then when it comes to actually speaking, just jumping into a conversation,
It gets tricky.
yeah, the words just sort of get stuck.
Yeah.
Or you feel shy, maybe, or you feel like, well, there's no one around to practice with.
Or just finding the time. Life gets busy.
Totally. Finding the time is a big one.
It really is. And, learners often feel like they're waiting for something perfect to happen.
Like what?
Like finding the perfect native speaker friend who has hours to chat, or suddenly being dropped into London or New York.
Right, that magic key idea.
Exactly. Or needing that one special teacher before they feel they can really start speaking fluently.
Which brings us to today. We're diving into some really fascinating source material that you, our listeners, have shared.
Mm-hmm.
And it tackles this exact problem, like head on. It points towards this one really fundamental habit, maybe one powerful approach that could genuinely change your English speaking.
And that is,
Practicing speaking every single day.
sounds simple, but it's the core of it. And the beauty of what these sources outline, I think, is that it's not about finding, 2 extra hours in your day.
Right. It's not about needing that perfect conversation partner every afternoon.
No, it's much more about strategically weaving speaking practice into the moments you already have, little pockets of time.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. Let's really unpack these insights, these practical tips from the material you sent.
Let's do it.
We want to figure out exactly how you listening can practice speaking English every single day.
Even if you're totally alone.
Yeah, even if you feel like a complete beginner.
And even if you genuinely only have like 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there.
And I get the sense from looking at this material that the methods are surprisingly simple, almost deceptively so.
They really are. Very accessible. It's about using your life, your routines, the tools you probably already have, like your phone.
Okay, let's start with the big idea, the foundation the sources build on. They use this great analogy.
The skill analogy.
Yeah, that speaking a language is basically like learning any other skill. Like playing the guitar or learning to swim.
It's such a clear way to think about it, isn't it? The core idea is just, well, it's undeniable. Fluency isn't something you just magically absorb.
You have to build it.
You have to build it through practice. Consistent physical and mental practice. The more you actually use the muscles, the neural pathways for speaking,
The stronger they get.
more automatic.
Precisely. It becomes less effortful over time because you've done the reps, basically.
And here's the kicker. The secret the sources mention, you don't always need someone else there.
Right. That's a huge relief for many people. You don't need the classroom, the teacher, the native speaker every single time you want to practice your speaking.
So what do you need then, according to the sources? Well, it shifts the focus inward. It's less about external resources and more about internal commitments.
Right.
Like consistency, first and foremost. Showing up every day, even briefly. Intention, knowing why you're doing it and what you're focusing on. And making sure it's the right kind of practice. Active speaking.
So the message is you really can create your own English speaking environment. Like build your own little practice gym using your day.
Absolutely. Using your everyday moments, the simple tools you've got, it's quite empowering when you think about it.
Okay, so if we don't always need other people or formal settings, how does this actually work? How do we practice alone? The sources give us this really neat framework walking through a typical day.
Starting right from the moment you wake up.
Yeah. And this is where self-talk comes in.
Your new best friend for fluency.
Apparently so. The
Anyway.
sources call it one of the most powerful tools available. And the idea is, well, it sounds almost too simple.
Just talk to yourself.
Basically, yeah. Describe what you're doing in English as you're doing it.
Okay, give me an example. Like the alarm goes off.
Right. Maybe you're still lying there for a second. You just start narrating. Okay, eyes open. I need to get up. Ugh, I feel a bit sleepy still. Let me stretch. Right, feet on the floor now.
Just verbalizing the actions.
Exactly. And the sources say the simple act immediately helps kind of shift your brain gears, puts you into English mode right away.
Making it easier to think in English for the rest of the day, presumably.
That seems to be the idea. And they make a point that, you don't have to shout this out loud.
Right, you don't want to wake everyone up.
No. You can speak softly, whisper it, or even just form the sentences clearly in your mind. The key is making that direct link.
Action. English words. Thought. English words.
Yeah.
Bypassing that translation step.
Exactly. That little voice in your head starts thinking in English about what's happening right now.
Okay, so you stumble out of bed,
Mhm.
into the bathroom. What happens then?
Same principle applies. Just keep narrating. Hey, grabbing my toothbrush, putting toothpaste on, brushing my teeth now. Gotta get the back ones. The water feels cold this morning. Need to wash my face. Right, shower time.
These sentences seem incredibly basic.
They are, and the sources acknowledge that. They say, look, these might seem too simple, but don't underestimate them. This is the absolute foundation.
The bedrock of spoken English.
Yes. The more automatic these little descriptions become, the easier everything else will eventually feel.
It's like practicing scales on a piano, isn't it?
That's a great analogy.
It doesn't sound like a Mozart concerto when you're doing scales, but you can't play the concerto without mastering the scales. It builds that fundamental muscle memory, the technique.
So these simple sentences are building the muscle memory for speaking English.
Exactly. For forming thoughts into English words fluidly.
Okay, next up, getting dressed. Another opportunity.
Definitely. More narration, plus maybe some specific vocabulary practice. Well, you can describe the clothes, the colors. I'm putting on a blue shirt today. Where are my socks? Ah, found them. This jacket might be too warm.
And the sources mention asking yourself questions too.
Yeah, this is a great little technique. Ask yourself a question and then answer it. What should I wear today? Maybe jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah, that sounds good. Or, is this clean? Yes, it is.
So you're practicing forming questions and answers all by yourself.
Exactly. It's surprisingly effective for reinforcing sentence structure and pulling vocabulary out of your memory without needing a partner. It simulates a mini conversation.
Inside your own head, or maybe whispered.
It forces you to actively retrieve the words and structure the thoughts.
Right, then we move to the kitchen. Breakfast time, same deal.
You got it. More chances to connect actions and objects with English words. Okay, making coffee. Need to fill the kettle. Where's the coffee? Ah, here. I like my eggs boiled. Let me get some bread. Maybe some jam today.
It feels like the goal here is really breaking that habit of thinking in your native language and then translating.
That's precisely it. By constantly describing your immediate reality and actions in English, especially during these routine moments, you're training your brain to just think in English directly.
Skipping the middleman, the translation step.
Which is often what causes those hesitations and slowdowns in conversation. This builds that direct pathway.
The sources actually have a little practice exercise around this point, don't they, for the morning routine?
They do. They suggest repeating or speaking along with some really common, simple morning sentences.
Like what?
Things like, good morning, I'm feeling good today, I need to make breakfast. Just getting your mouth used to saying these typical phrases.
But then there's a crucial next step they mention.
Yes. Don't just repeat their examples, immediately try to personalize it.
Right. So instead of I'm feeling good today, maybe you say,
Good morning. Actually, I'm feeling a bit tired today. I need to check my email first. Or whatever is true for you.
so you adapt it to your own situation.
Exactly. That personalization is what makes the language stick. It makes it your English, relevant to your life. Gets you comfortable using these common expressions in your own real context.
Okay, that makes sense. So you've successfully narrated your way through the morning routine in English. What happens if you leave the house? Can you keep this going?
Absolutely. The describing method just continues, but focuses outward.
So looking out the window or walking down the street or on the bus.
Yep. Simply notice things around you and turn those observations into English sentences, silently or quietly.
Like, oh, look, the bus is finally coming. Wow, there's a lot of traffic this morning. I see some kids playing over there in the park. The weather looks pretty sunny today, actually.
Exactly that. You're constantly training yourself to process your environment directly through the lens of English. It's low pressure, continuous exposure, and output.
Based on what's right there in front of you.
It keeps the English on.
Now, what if talking to yourself, even quietly, still feels a bit strange? Or maybe you want to check how you actually sound.
Ah, good question. This is where the sources suggest bringing in a bit of simple technology.
Your phone?
Your phone. Specifically, the voice recorder app that pretty much every smartphone has.
How does that work as a daily method?
Super simple. The instruction is just record yourself speaking for, say, 1 or 2 minutes.
About anything?
About anything. Your day so far, what you're planning to do later, how you're feeling, maybe summarizing something you read. Just talk for a couple of minutes into the recorder.
And the sources emphasize something really important here.
Let me guess. Don't worry about mistakes.
Exactly. They make a big point of saying, this is practice. It is not an exam. Don't get hung up on perfection. Just get the words out.
Because the real learning benefit comes afterwards, right?
When you listen back.
Okay, that takes a bit of courage sometimes, hearing your own voice.
It really does. But the sources argue it's incredibly valuable feedback. You start to notice things, maybe how you pronounce certain words, your intonation patterns, how your sentences flow or don't flow.
And crucially, you'll also start to hear the improvements over time. Maybe the sound gets better, or you use sentence structures more naturally after a few weeks.
It's like having a free personal diagnostic tool available 24/7.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes the practice feel a bit more concrete, too. You've produced something you can review.
Okay, another method the sources mention, also really simple but apparently very effective, is just reading aloud.
Ah, yes. Good old reading aloud.
How does that fit into daily practice?
Well, you just grab any short piece of English text. It could be a news article, a paragraph from a book, a short story, even just a long social media post someone wrote.
And then?
Read it out loud, slowly, clearly. Focus on making the sounds distinctly.
What's the main benefit here?
It's really about refining the physical act of speaking English. It helps you practice the pronunciation of words, the rhythm of sentences, the stress patterns where the emphasis falls.
Things you might miss when reading silently.
Exactly. And it builds confidence in just producing the language vocally, getting comfortable with the sounds coming out of your own mouth.
The sources claim that even just 5 minutes of this daily can lead to quite rapid growth in speaking skills.
And they add a little bonus tip, too.
Which is?
Try recording yourself reading aloud. Then listen back. Maybe even find an audio version of the same text read by a native speaker, if possible, and compare.
Ah, so you can pinpoint specific differences in pronunciation or rhythm.
Yeah. It helps you identify areas where you might want to focus your pronunciation practice. Oh, they stress that word differently, or my vowel sound there is a bit off.
Okay, these are great practical tools, but let's talk about a major hurdle, something that stops almost everyone at some point, no matter how much they know. Hesitation.
Ah, the big one. Freezing up.
Yeah. You know the English. Maybe you even know the perfect word, but when the moment comes to actually speak, especially in a real conversation, poof.
Yeah.
Mind goes blank.
Or you just freeze, unable to get the words out.
Yeah.
That's a huge barrier.
And the sources, what do they say about tackling this?
They are incredibly direct, like refreshingly blunt about it.
Okay.
They state very clearly, the only way to reduce hesitation, the only way to eventually get rid of it, is by speaking more.
No magic tricks, no secret techniques.
Nope. Just more output, more practice actually forming and saying the words. There's no shortcut around the act of speaking itself.
It feels like it comes back to a mindset shift, doesn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Moving away from this idea that every time you open your mouth, it has to be perfect.
And shifting towards.
Just aiming for practice, aiming for mileage, getting the words out, even if they're not flawless.
And what about mistakes? Because fear of mistakes is often what causes the hesitation.
The sources have a really positive spin on mistakes. They frame them not as failures, but as your best teachers.
How so?
The act of making a mistake, recognizing it, maybe later when you listen back to a recording or just realize it, and then figuring out the correct way, that process actually helps your brain lock in the correct form much more strongly than if you just passively read the rule.
So trying and failing is actually better for learning than not trying at all.
Way better. Mistakes are data points for improvement.
So the core encouragement is just speak.
Pretty much. Don't be afraid. Speak to yourself. Use that self-talk we discussed. Speak to your reflection in the mirror. Speak to your pet goldfish. Record yourself speaking. Just get the sounds out. That consistent act of vocalizing, even imperfectly, builds resilience. It gradually wears down that internal editor, that fear of judgment that causes the hesitation.
Okay, so we've talked about describing the present moment, recording yourself, reading aloud. What about preparing for future situations?
Ah, this is where the sources introduce imagining and role-playing daily scenarios.
So it takes that self-talk idea but gives it a specific goal.
Exactly. Instead of just narrating what you were doing, you imagine a common situation and practice the language you would need in that situation.
You used the grocery store example, right?
Yeah, it's a good one. You literally picture yourself there. Maybe you're walking down the aisle. What would you need to say?
Okay, I need a shopping cart first. Where are the vegetables? Ah, over there. These tomatoes look good. How much are the onions? I also need some milk. Is this the bread aisle? Excuse me, where can I find pasta?
Exactly like that. You run through the potential interactions in your head or out loud quietly.
And the benefit is,
You're preloading your brain.
hmm,
You're practicing the specific phrases and vocabulary related to that common situation. So when you actually go to the grocery store, the language feels more familiar, more accessible.
less panic, more confidence.
Precisely. It trains your brain to anticipate the language needed for different contexts, making retrieval faster and more automatic when the real situation happens. It's like doing a mental rehearsal.
They also had an example about calling a friend.
Mhm. Imagining that simple, casual conversation, the kind of small talk that makes up a lot of interaction.
Like, hi, friend's name. How's it going? What are you up to today? Oh, not much here either. Just working. Hey, did you watch that game last night? Yeah, it was crazy. We should definitely grab coffee soon. Okay, cool. Talk to you later. Bye.
Running through those kinds of basic conversational building blocks makes them feel less awkward and more natural when you're actually talking to someone. The phrases become part of your active repertoire.
Now, the sources do briefly touch on online resources, right?
They do, yeah. They mention things like online speaking clubs or language exchange apps
As potential options.
as potential options, exactly. If you have reliable internet access, and if you feel ready for that kind of interaction, they acknowledge it's a possibility for some.
But the main focus seems to stay on methods you can do completely alone.
Definitely. They quickly pivot back to really powerful solo techniques that anyone can use anytime, anywhere, like using videos.
Ah, watching short English videos. But not just watching passively.
No, actively engaging with them through repetition. Specifically, repeating what the speaker says.
This is the technique called shadowing, isn't it?
That's the one. It's brilliant. You watch a short clip, maybe from YouTube, a movie, a TV show. When someone speaks a line,
You pause it.
you pause it and you immediately repeat the line they just said. And crucially, you try to mimic everything.
Not just the words.
No, the pronunciation, the intonation, the rise and fall of the voice, the rhythm, even the emotion or tone, if you can catch it.
Why is that so effective?
Because you're directly internalizing and then reproducing the natural patterns of spoken English. You're learning how the language sounds and flows when spoken authentically. It's fantastic for improving your accent and overall fluency.
Getting that musicality of the language.
Exactly. The sources even suggest a quick practice for this, like listening to lines such as, I'm really happy today, or I went to the park this morning,
And then repeating them.
and repeating them with this suggested emotion. Try to sound happy or reflective or whatever the original tone was.
Does that emotional connection help?
Hugely, according to the sources. It makes the language feel less like a dry academic exercise and more like real human communication. It boosts not just your speaking mechanics, but also your confidence in actually expressing yourself.
Okay, let's really dig into this idea of fitting practice into your existing day. The sources seem quite insistent that you don't need huge, dedicated study blocks.
This is such a critical point, I think. It shifts the whole perspective on what practice means. Instead of feeling guilty because you can't find a solid hour to study speaking,
You look for the small moments.
you look for the small, overlooked pockets of time that already exist in your day, and you consciously decide to add a little bit of English speaking to those moments.
And the sources argue that this adds up significantly.
It really does. A few minutes here while waiting for the kettle to boil, a few minutes there while walking to the bus stop. Suddenly you might have spoken English for, say, 20 or 30 minutes spread throughout the day.
Without feeling like you had to schedule this massive, daunting study English speaking session.
Exactly. And interestingly, the sources suggest these short, consistent bursts of practice can actually be more effective for building fluency than one long, infrequent session.
Why is that?
It keeps the language constantly active in your brain. You're frequently switching into English mode, reinforcing those pathways throughout the day rather than just once.
Okay, give me a concrete example from the sources. Where can we find these moments?
Household chores are a prime example they use.
Like washing dishes, folding laundry.
Yep. Time when your hands might be busy, but your mind and mouth are free. You just start narrating again. Okay, time to wash these dishes. This plate is really greasy. Need more soap. Almost done with the cups now. I really like having a clean kitchen.
It sounds almost mundane.
It is mundane. That's
Ah.
the point. You're embedding English practice into the fabric of your normal life. It keeps that speaking muscle warmed up and engaged during time that would otherwise just be silent chore time.
Making English feel less like a subject and more like a part of your daily operation.
Exactly. And for people who don't live alone,
What do the sources suggest?
they suggest talking to your kids, or maybe younger siblings, in English, even if they don't fully understand everything you're saying.
Just the act of speaking it out loud in your home?
Yes, using simple, common phrases.
Hmm?
Things like, okay, time for dinner. Let's sit down over here. Do you want some juice? Where did you put your toy?
These are phrases you might actually use in real conversations anyway.
Absolutely. So practicing them in a low-stakes environment helps you get comfortable vocalizing English within your own home, making it feel more natural.
And if you do live alone, we mentioned pets.
Pets are great listeners, but the sources go further. Talk to your plants. Talk to your favorite chair. Talk to your reflection in the toaster if you want.
Okay, now that does sound potentially silly.
And the sources totally get that. They acknowledge it might feel weird or awkward at first, but they emphasize the goal. Break down the mental barrier. Make the act of speaking English out loud feel as normal and unremarkable as, well, brushing your teeth.
It's about normalizing the physical act of producing English sounds in any context.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Removing the self-consciousness associated with it.
Okay, another powerful technique, especially good for maybe the end of the day. Storytelling.
Ah, yes. Recounting your day.
How does this work as practice?
It's simple. You
Okay.
just tell the story of your day out loud in English.
Yeah.
Imagine you're talking to a friend, or just narrate it to yourself or your journal.
What kind of things would you say?
You'd recount the main events. Okay, so today, I woke up pretty early, actually. First, I had breakfast and coffee. Then I went to work. I had a couple of meetings in the morning. Lunch was quick. In the afternoon, I worked on that report. After work, I went to the market. Then I came home and cooked dinner. This seems like a fantastic practice for using the past tense.
Exactly, which is crucial for everyday conversation, talking about what happened. This exercise forces you to actively use past tense verbs and structure narrative sentences, and the sources say you can include feelings too.
Definitely. Adding how you felt makes it more complete and practices emotional vocabulary. I felt really productive this morning. The second meeting was a bit stressful, though. I was happy when I finally finished that report. I felt quite tired by the evening.
So it helps you connect feelings to English words and express yourself more fully.
And it helps you build coherence, linking sentences and ideas together in a logical sequence, just like telling a story to a friend.
Is there a practice suggestion for this one too?
Yep. Think about yesterday. Try to speak about it, maybe using some starter sentences provided like, yesterday I woke up around 7:30 holy. Then the key is to pause their example and try it for your actual yesterday.
Tailoring it again.
Always tailoring it. And the goal is to try and speak continuously for a minute or two, without stopping too much to search for words. Build that fluency, that flow.
Okay, what about people who enjoy reading? Is there a speaking practice linked to that?
Yes, the sources suggest summarizing.
How does that work?
You read something simple in English, maybe a short news story, a children's story, a blog post. After reading it, put it aside and try to summarize the main points aloud in your own words.
They gave that example about a lost phone story, didn't they?
They did. Something like, okay, so this story, it was about a boy. And he lost his phone. I think it was on the bus. He was really upset. Naturally, he asked some people if they'd seen it. And then finally, some kind man found it and gave it back. So the boy was super happy in the end.
So you're not just reading, you're processing and then reproducing the information.
Exactly. It hits multiple skills at once. You practice speaking, obviously, but you also improve your reading comprehension, your memory recall, and your ability to construct coherent sentences to explain something.
Retelling information is a very common conversational skill.
It really is. This method moves you from just passively understanding the text to actively producing language based on it, reformulating it in your own voice.
Okay, here's a really modern tip from the sources. Using your phone again, but this time, the Reminders app.
Ah, the scheduled practice prompts.
Yeah, how does this one work?
It's clever. You literally set a couple of reminders on your phone for different times during the day, maybe 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and the reminder message is simple. Speak English for 5 minutes.
And when it tops up?
You stop what you're doing, if possible, for just those 5 minutes, and you speak English.
Speak about what?
About whatever's happening right then. Narrate your current actions. Describe how you're feeling. Talk about what you're thinking about or what you need to do next.
They had that 2 p.m. example, right?
Yeah, like the reminder goes off. Okay, 2 p.m. reminder time. Right now I'm sitting at my computer, feeling a bit hungry actually. I should probably drink some water. I'm thinking about that email I need to send later.
Just 5 minutes of immediate present moment narration.
Exactly. And the sources make a bold claim about this.
Which is?
That these scattered, small practice sessions done consistently multiple times a day can genuinely transform your fluency level. It's the power of accumulation.
Little and often adds up.
Precisely. The cumulative effect is way bigger than you might think.
Building on that idea of integrating English, the sources talk about actively creating an English environment around you, even if no one else around you speaks it.
Yeah, making English more visible and present in your physical space.
What kind of concrete steps do they suggest?
Things like changing your phone's language setting to English. That immerses you immediately.
Okay, that's a simple one.
Writing your daily to-do list or shopping list in English.
Another practical switch.
And using sticky notes. Put notes with new English words or useful phrases on objects around your room, on the mirror, the fridge, your desk.
And the key is not just seeing them.
No. The key is to say the word or phrase out loud, maybe in a short sentence, every time you notice the sticky note.
So it connects seeing the word with actually using it vocally.
Exactly. This ties right back into effective vocabulary learning. Don't just memorize lists silently. Actively use the new words.
Even if it's just in self-talk or a simple sentence to yourself.
Absolutely. They use the example of learning the word delicious. Don't just think delicious and tasty.
What should you do?
Say things like, this apple is delicious. Or, I hope dinner is delicious tonight. Or, I had a delicious piece of cake yesterday. Actively inserting the word into spoken sentences makes it stick.
It becomes part of your active, usable vocabulary, not just passive knowledge you recognize.
Precisely. You're much more likely to recall and use it in a real conversation if you've practiced saying it.
Okay, let's loop back to mirror practice for a second. We mentioned it briefly, but the sources seem to highlight a specific benefit beyond just speaking.
The confidence aspect.
Yes, talk about that.
So the act is simple. Stand in front of a mirror and speak English. Look at yourself, your face, your eyes. Watch your mouth forming the words.
Why does this help with confidence, specifically?
It directly addresses the visual and physical side of speaking that can make people self-conscious. You get used to seeing yourself speak English, it demystifies it a bit.
And it helps you connect with the person speaking, which is you.
Exactly. But the sources go further and suggest using this time for specific confidence-building affirmations.
Like positive self-talk.
Yes, saying things directly to your reflection, like, today I will speak English confidently, or I believe in myself and my ability to learn, or I am improving every single day.
So you're actively programming a more positive mindset about your speaking ability.
You are. It directly tackles that inner critic, that voice saying, you're not good enough or you sound silly. It's about reinforcing self-belief.
Then reminding yourself, as the sources mention, that everyone starts somewhere. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner struggling just like you might be now.
Acknowledging the journey and your progress, even just to yourself in the mirror, is incredibly motivating. It shifts focus from perceived flaws to ongoing improvement.
Okay, now let's move on to more structured role play. This seems like a step up from just imagining scenarios.
It is. Here, you're not just thinking about the situation, you're actively performing it, acting out the different parts of the conversation in English.
The restaurant scenario is a classic example they use.
Right. You could play both roles or just your own. Imagine walking in. Good evening. Do you have a table for two? Then maybe the host line, then back to you. Great, thank you. Can we see the menu, please?
Then ordering.
Okay, I think I'll have the chicken sandwich. And could I just get a glass of water, please? Maybe commenting on the food. This is really good. And finally, excuse me, could we have the bill, please?
So you're rehearsing the entire interaction.
Exactly. Practicing these specific common interaction scripts prepares you thoroughly for when you encounter them in real life.
Yeah.
They feel much less daunting because you've done them before.
The airport scenario is another really practical one they mentioned.
Super useful. Imagine approaching the check-in desk. Hi, I'm checking in for the flight to London. Here's my passport. I have one bag to check in.
Asking for things.
Could I possibly get a window seat? Or, what time does boarding start for this flight? And thanking them. Great, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Again, running through these practical dialogues makes them feel almost automatic when the time comes.
It embeds the language so deeply through repeated practice. You arrive at the actual airport, and those phrases are right there, ready to use because you've practiced them daily.
This leads nicely into another method the sources highlight as really effective daily practice. Asking yourself questions and then answering them.
Ah, yes, the internal Q&A session.
We touched on it with getting dressed, but this seems broader. Why is it so good?
It's fantastic for training your brain to think and respond quickly in English. You're practicing both sides of a basic conversational exchange, formulating a question and formulating an answer.
So it speeds up your processing time.
It really does. The sources suggest using simple, everyday question and answer sets.
Like what? Give me some examples from the material.
Okay, things like Q.
Yeah.
What did I eat for breakfast this morning? A. I had some yogurt and granola. Or Q. What do I really need to get done today?
Hey.
Okay, I must finish that report, and I need to call the bank, and I want to try and go for a walk.
So planning and recounting.
Exactly. Or simple present facts. Q. What time is it right now? A. It's just after 10:30. Q. What's the weather doing? A. Actually, it started raining now.
And about yourself.
Yeah, checking in. Q. How am I feeling right now? A. I feel pretty good, actually. Bit busy, but okay. Or I feel a little tired.
The sources recommend doing this regularly, like morning and night.
Yeah, they suggest maybe spending just a couple of minutes each morning and evening running through these kinds of simple Q&As with yourself.
Why then?
To build that solid habit of thinking and responding directly in English without constantly translating it back and forth from your native language for these fundamental exchanges.
It makes those basic interactions almost reflexive.
That's the goal. And they also suggest trying this while looking in the mirror, like we discussed, or even while you're out walking. Adds another layer. Practicing while doing something else, or seeing yourself. Reinforces speaking without fear.
Okay, let's take using media TV shows, videos one step further. We talked about shadowing, just repeating, but the sources suggest a more interactive way too.
Yes, moving beyond pure mimicry to actual participation, in a way.
How does that work?
So the first step is still the same. A character says a line, you pause, you repeat it, copying their tone and speed as best you can.
Okay, got that. What's next?
The next step is the interactive part. Imagine you are actually in that scene. After repeating their line, say your own line back, as if you were responding to them or adding to the conversation.
Oh, interesting. So if the character says, I'm just going to the store.
You first repeat, I'm just going to the store. Then you add your own contribution, like, oh, okay, do you need me to grab anything while you're out? Or mind if I tag along? I need some fresh air.
So you're improvising a response within the context of the show?
Exactly. It turns passive watching into active participation. It's fun, first of all. But it also helps you learn how real conversations flow, the back and forth, the natural reactions, the segues.
You're practicing applying the English, in a dynamic, albeit imaginary situation.
It's a really clever way to practice conversational turns and improvisation skills, all based on authentic input from the show.
Let's quickly circle back to shadowing again. The sources seem to revisit it, specifically addressing a common issue.
Which is?
Sounding robotic. Or focusing so much on getting the grammar perfect that you lose the natural flow, the rhythm of the language.
Ah, yes. Analysis paralysis killing the music of the language.
Exactly. So how does shadowing help with that specifically?
This is where the emphasis in shadowing shifts slightly. It's not just about saying the right words, but about matching the delivery, the tone, the speed, the rhythm, the pauses, the emphasis.
The musicality we mentioned?
Precisely. You choose your short audio clip, podcast, YouTube, whatever. Listen to just one sentence. Pause immediately. Repeat it exactly as you heard it, focusing on the sound and flow above all else.
And do it again.
Listen again. Repeat again, over and over for that one sentence until it starts to feel smooth and natural coming out of your own mouth.
What's the core benefit of this targeted flow practice?
It trains your mouth, your vocal cords, your brain to physically produce the sounds and rhythms of authentic English. It builds enormous confidence because you start to hear yourself sounding more natural.
Which is a huge psychological boost.
Massive. And the sources provide some really good common phrases for this kind of practice, things you hear all the time.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to do, or let me think about it, or can you help me please? And I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Practicing the delivery of those everyday phrases makes a big difference.
Huge difference in how fluent you sound and feel in normal interactions. Mastering the flow of these common chunks of language is key.
Okay, now, across all these different methods and tips, there seems to be one overarching message, maybe the most critical takeaway from all the source material we looked at.
Let me guess. It's about not waiting.
Exactly. It addresses what the sources call the biggest mistake many learners make. Waiting. Waiting until they feel ready.
Waiting until they know, 10,000 words. Waiting until they've mastered every single grammar tense perfectly. Waiting until they magically feel fluent before they actually start speaking regularly.
And the truth, according to these sources, is what?
It's the complete opposite. The only path to becoming fluent, the only way to get ready, is by speaking. Starting right now.
Today.
Today. Every day. With whatever English you have at this moment, Your current vocabulary, your current grammar knowledge, that's your starting point, and it's enough to start speaking.
And they keep reinforcing that message about mistakes, don't they?
Constantly. Mistakes are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones. They're not something to fear or be ashamed of. They are essential, unavoidable, valuable parts of the learning process.
Learning from them makes you stronger.
It genuinely does. The correction process solidifies the learning.
The sources draw a really stark contrast, too, between silent study and active speaking.
They do. They basically say that hours spent passively reading grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary lists, while necessary for building foundational knowledge,
Are far less effective for developing actual speaking fluency.
than just a few minutes of actually speaking English every single day. Even 5 or 10 minutes of vocal practice outweighs hours of silent study when it comes to improving your ability to converse.
So real progress, the kind that unlocks your ability to actually talk to people.
Happens when you physically open your mouth and let the English words come out, however imperfectly they might sound at first. That act of production is what drives fluency forward.
It's the engine, as you said earlier.
It is. You have to start the engine for the car to move.
Okay, building on that just do it idea, the sources suggest a specific daily exercise routine, almost like a workout for your speaking.
Ah, the daily topic practice.
Yes, explain that one.
It's structured but simple. Every day you choose a topic, a simple everyday topic.
Like what?
Could be anything. Your favorite food, your best friend, your hometown, your job or studies, your dreams for the future, your morning routine, what you did last weekend, your plans for next weekend. Simple stuff.
And once you have your topic,
You set a timer for, say, 2 minutes, and you just speak about that topic for the full 2 minutes, nonstop.
nonstop. What if you run out of things to say or make a mistake?
Keep going. Don't worry about perfection. Don't stop if you hesitate or make a grammar error. The goal isn't a perfect speech. The goal is continuous speaking, pushing yourself to keep talking, keep forming thoughts in English for that set period.
They give an example paragraph for favorite season, I remember.
Yeah, something like, okay, my favorite season is definitely winter. I like winter, mostly because the weather's cool. You know, you can wear nice sweaters and jackets. Plus, sometimes it snows where I live, and that looks really beautiful. I also enjoy drinking hot chocolate or tea in the winter, and just keep going like that.
What's the main benefit of this particular exercise?
It builds speaking stamina. It helps you practice linking ideas together and speaking for a sustained period, more like a real conversation or telling a story. And it forces you to think on your feet in English.
Working with the language you have under a little bit of time pressure?
Exactly. Which is great preparation for real-world interactions.
Okay, we've covered a ton of methods. But what about motivation? It's easy to start strong, but keeping it up day after day, that can be tough. The sources address this, right?
They do. They acknowledge that there will be days when you feel tired or bored or discouraged, when you just don't feel like practicing.
So what's the advice then?
Anchor yourself in your why. Remember why you started learning English in the first place.
Your original motivation?
Yes. Was it for a better job? To travel? To connect with family or friends? To study abroad? For the love of movies or music? Whatever that core reason was, keep it front and center. Remind yourself of it often, especially on the tough days.
And they also talk about framing practice as a habit.
Critically important, motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable. Habits, on the other hand, are systems. They run even when motivation is low.
So don't rely on feeling motivated to practice.
Exactly. Treat English speaking practice like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. It's just something you do every day as part of your routine. It's non-negotiable, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Make it automatic.
Make it automatic. That's the core message, echoing through all the sources. Turn daily speaking into a habit.
And challenge that idea of waiting for the perfect time to practice.
Absolutely. There is no perfect time. You have to make the time. And again, it doesn't have to be long. Those 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before bed, talking to yourself during chores, it all counts and it all adds up. Small, consistent efforts lead to big results over time.
Consistency beats intensity in this case.
For building this kind of skill, absolutely. Little and often is the mantra.
Okay, so the sources bring everything together at the end with a final piece of encouragement and one last practice suggestion.
They do. It's a nice way to wrap up. They provide a set of simple, positive, daily life sentences.
And the idea is for the listener, for you, to repeat them.
Yes, repeat them out loud confidently. Sentences like, I'm getting ready for work now. I'm making myself a cup of coffee. I have a lot I want to accomplish today. I will call my friend later on. I need to remember to buy some vegetables.
And some more affirming ones, too.
Yeah, I am learning English every single day. I am getting better and better. I believe in myself and my progress.
Saying these out loud reinforces the actions and the positive mindset,
Exactly. And then they suggest one final, powerful little step.
which is,
After saying them out loud, close your eyes for a moment. Pick maybe 3 of those sentences that resonate with you and repeat them again, silently, to yourself. Really focus on the feeling, the conviction behind the words.
building that inner confidence, that internal voice that believes you can do it.
Precisely. It's about solidifying that self-belief, that readiness to speak when the opportunity comes.
Wow. Okay, so as we've gone through all these different methods and insights from the source material you all shared with us, the overwhelming message seems crystal clear. Fluency in English speaking. It's not about waiting for perfection before you start. It's built step by step through the consistent act of speaking itself.
Practice is the path, not the destination you reach before starting.
All these tools we discuss, the self-talk, describing your surroundings, using voice recordings, reading aloud.
Shadowing videos, role-playing scenarios, practicing in the mirror, telling your daily story, asking and answering questions, doing daily topic sprints.
Integrating it into chores, creating that English environment with notes and lists, they're all there. They're accessible, they're powerful, and they're waiting for you to use them.
So the advice is simple. Use them. Trust the process that these sources describe so clearly. Your fluency isn't some mythical beast hiding over the horizon.
It's right there, waiting for you to build it.
Exactly. Waiting for you to take these consistent small steps, word by word, day by day.
And you don't need anyone's permission to start.
Not at all.
You don't need to feel perfectly ready or supremely confident before you open your mouth.
Absolutely not. You just need to start speaking. Start small, maybe just with self-talk. Use your voice every single day in whatever way feels manageable and comfortable for you right now.
And believe in the power of that consistent daily effort.
Because that's where the magic happens. Your confidence won't just appear, it will grow because you are actively practicing, actively building the skill, not just passively thinking or worrying about it.
So thinking about all this, for you listening right now, what does this deep dive really mean? It seems to show a path to fluency that's less about finding some external magic wand.
And much more about harnessing the power that's already within your own daily life, your own commitment.
It shows how these small, consistent habits, talking to yourself, describing things, recording your voice, shadowing, can become so ingrained that English stops feeling like a subject you study.
And starts feeling like a living, breathing part of your everyday reality.
Think about all these simple, practical methods we've unpacked today. Which one feels like something you could try? What small step, maybe even just a 2-minute step, will you take today to just speak English?